All right. Good evening, middle of the night, after hours, after dark. I'm a socially awkward person in general, but I'm gonna try to keep this as fluid and uh, properly flowing as possible. All right. So I am Joshua, and I am going to be answering some questions um, for my good friend, as he calls himself, Willie the King.
TM.
If you could, after watching this, if you like what you saw, could you send a like and subscribe to the channel and share it with somebody else? Maybe, hopefully, you'll actually learn something. Maybe not. Maybe I just like to blow smoke up people's asses. Alright.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the channel where we go beyond the physical, where we talk about local events, concerns, hot topics, celebrities, entertainment. If this is your first time tuning in, please like, subscribe, and comment. I have my friend here.
I'm Joshua. None of your fucking business what my last name is. Just kidding.
Well, he's a guest on the show today. I'm going to interview him and ask him multiple questions, personal questions, private questions. So let's get into it.
I want to let you know ahead of time, it's actually easier for me to focus on the conversation if I'm also focused on something else. Like, the split focus helps me. So I'm going to be writing down potential questions to ask, like, in the future interviews, while you're asking me whatever questions you'd like to ask.
Okay. So, are you religious?
I used to be. I would say I'm more spiritual now. I declare myself a Wiccan because I feel as though, as absurd as people believe it to be, when people think Wicca, they associate it with like witchcraft and Satanism, other off-the-wall shit like that. But in reality, Wicca is just more in touch with spirituality. And yeah, there are some beliefs. There are some beliefs in Wicca that you can use spiritual energy for things like manifestation or astral projecting, or Wicca is a very large, it's very broad, not really even a religion. I would say it's more of a philosophy, because Wicca covers like paganism, like even the Greeks who worshipped like Zeus and Poseidon and Hades, their belief system was paganism. Not that I assume the audience is stupid, it's just that not everybody knows that, that the Greek Olympians or the Roman gods and goddesses are all forms of paganism. Anyway, that's not really relevant. Semi-relevant, but my belief is just in spirituality. I believe in projecting your will into situations that can influence other people to feel certain ways or behave in certain ways. At the risk of sounding like an overcocky asshole, I would say that by projecting my intended persona by giving every audience
Go ahead.
by giving every audience around me, every person that I interact with, a certain aura, a certain intent, a certain
polarity.
Yeah.
Probably the question.
I display my character in different ways depending on different situations with the intent of nothing malicious. I always just want people to be happy with life, with me. I don't like when people are shitty to me because then I feel obligated to be shitty back, and I don't like that.
Facts.
Mama ain't raised no bitch, as a friend once told me a long time ago. But at the same time, I don't pursue conflict. I'm probably the most anti-confrontational person that I know.
Make sure you speak up a little louder so the audience can hear you. You're in a great position. It's just make sure they can hear you.
Would it help to turn down the volume of the orchestra?
I'm still going to put the captions on it anyway. Do you believe in Jesus?
As a turn it up.
Yeah, do you believe in Jesus?
If you want my honest answer to that question, I don't believe in Jesus Christ as a celestial being. I know that Christianity thrives on the belief that there was God and Jesus Christ was the manifestation of God, and that the combination of his earthly body and his celestial body made up the Holy Spirit. But I don't believe that Jesus Christ was a celestial being. I'm sure there was somebody named Jesus Christ, and it's possible that he even performed some miracles. But I'll be honest with you, I've seen some shit that I couldn't explain done by people who wouldn't tell me their tricks or methods, and that did not make them messiahs. That did not make them holier than thou, prophets, or connected to the Holy Spirit. So I don't believe Jesus Christ. I don't believe in Jesus Christ other than that he was a person.
Okay. What grade did you graduate? I mean, what grade did you complete? What's the highest grade you completed in school?
I graduated from high school and actually took some classes in civil engineering at the Delaware Technical Community College. But that, if you want me to explain further in depth, should not have happened. When I was in high school, I mean, mind you, to give you a little prequel, a little, backstory. I was a straight A student all through elementary school.
A little bit louder.
I was a straight A student all through elementary, middle, high school, and I was very by the book. I never struggled with any academic topics. Sorry, for some reason my brain just got a little muddy.
I'm sure it did.
I never struggled in school. I always excelled in every single class that I was in, with every single subject that I studied. I was always above and beyond. And, I mean, not to gloat on it, although I do take pride in it. When I was in high school, and as a class we all collectively took the SATs, I just so happened to be dating this girl who was the valedictorian of my class, meaning she was number one. She ranked higher than every other student in her grade, and I blew her SAT score out of the fucking water. I scored so much higher than her that part of her fucking hated me for it. I mean, we got into like a legitimate, like ferocious argument over our fucking SAT scores, and she was supposed to be number one, smarter than anybody else, and I was just some near dropout who didn't aspire to do anything. I mean, just on a personal note, I honestly didn't plan on anything after high school. I didn't see the future beyond when I was like 17. When the party started, when I was like a young teenager, like, you know, first being introduced to substances at 13, all the way through my high school career, just getting fucked up day in and day out, and one way or another, just finding that next thing to make me feel better, and establishing that as the life that I was living. I didn't plan for a future. I didn't aspire to do anything. I figured it was possible, but I didn't care about it. Anyway, I digress.
When you die, how do you want people to remember you? What is it you want people to remember when you die?
Oof. I mean, not to dodge the question, but I almost feel like it's irrelevant. I feel like atheists are some of the most unrealistically realistic motherfuckers that ever could exist. To genuinely be atheist, to be an atheist or atheistic, you know, to just feel like it doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter if I die, you die, he, she dies, your mother, your daughter, your fucking family and friends. We all die eventually, right? And I don't care if I'm remembered as a piece of shit or a great person. And there's this philosophy that people immortalize themselves by having children, so that even once they're gone, their memory will live on. They're an extension of themselves through their child lives on. But I personally, I don't give a shit about that, because I feel like everybody's life is their own to live, and I don't need to be immortalized. I mean, you're talking to somebody who's been suicidal his entire fucking life, so it's hard to tell you in a way that doesn't sound like I just want to give up, but like, I don't care enough about potentially coming across as a bad person to care whether or not I'm even remembered. The only thing I'm concerned about is if I'm buried or cremated, I don't know what the afterlife would look like if there is one, so I don't know if that would have an impact. Like, if I get buried and then my conscious mind is still connected to my body, I don't want to be 6 feet under the fucking ground, trapped like that for eternity. But if I'm cremated, and the other flip side of that coin is true, if it's true that when you're cremated, it has an impact on the soul, I don't want to be damned just because I want to be put in an urn instead of a casket. There's so many intangibles. Just ridiculous.
When you're down, what keeps you motivated
Drugs.
to keep moving forward?
Drugs. No, I'm kidding. Actually, I can give you a much more serious answer than that, because I had to self-actualize within this past year or so, more so than I have my entire fucking life. I've had to really sit down with myself and come to terms with who I am, what drives me, what gets me to get up and actually do something to better my life. For the audience that is unaware of my situation, you don't know me from a fucking hole in the ground. I'm homeless. I know there are certain people who do know me personally that wouldn't label me homeless, because I just so happen to have been blessed with, and I say blessed not in a Christian stance, I just want to say that I'm not. Anyway, I have a grandmother who won't give up on me. She won't put me out on the street because even though she has never experienced it herself, she does not want somebody that is her blood to have to suffer with living in the streets when it's freezing cold at night, or living in a tent in the woods when it's fucking stormy every other day because it's Delaware and the weather is just shit. I'm sorry, what was the question?
What was the question? When you're sad.
Oh, what drives me? Oh, yeah, so when I sat down and I had these long-ass conversations with myself, I determined that the reason I have been okay for so long, and I've always been able to tunnel my way out of shit situations, and I've gone so far and worked so fucking hard to keep my life at least functional, regardless of how shitty my situations always turned out, was because I always had a significant other. I always had a woman in my life. I mean, it's been that way since I was like 15 years old, 14, 15.
Right.
I just had somebody else that I could take care of. I could focus my energy on. Hell, would give me the energy to focus on. It's like, why get up? Why shave? Why take a shower so I can smell good? Why pick out the kind of deodorant I want to wear to smell the way I want to smell? Why brush my teeth because I don't want my mouth to taste awful to another person? If there's no other person.
16 minutes on the board. We can take it to 20 and we can wrap this up.
Okay. But my point was just that
and get ready
when
for
I have
part
a significant other, I aim to drive or make myself better, make my life better so that I can look good for the person that I'm with.
What is the future for Josh?
You know, I have no fucking clue. I was diagnosed with HIV, so I mean, unless I actually get up off my ass and stop treating it like it's not there, if I keep ignoring treatment or seeking treatment, then I'll be dead probably within the next 5 years, undoubtedly. If I actually take care of myself, it's gonna be a complete overhaul, and I'm gonna have to change everything about my life. Starting with getting my mental health right, my physical health, getting treated for that illness. I'm probably going to end up, pursuing another relationship because it's what I do.
All right, this is something that I would love for you to share with the audience. How did you attract HIV?
How did I contract HIV?
Yes, sir.
To be honest with you, I don't even have a good theory as to how, when, or who.
And how does it feel to have HIV?
I mean, it's not something, it's like the way I feel anything in my life is vastly different from other people. I mean, not just because of my mental disorders, but also because everybody's perspective is different. That's like digressing, but the point that I'm trying to make is when I got the news that I tested positive for HIV, I just started playing a game on my phone because I didn't feel anything about it. It was just kind of like, well, I guess that's something. Like, I don't know how to address it. I don't know how to feel about it. I don't feel like terrible, in distress, despair, life is hopeless, and I'm a miserable wreck, because I frankly don't feel anything about it. I just know that I'm dying, actually.
What are the 3 things in your life that you love the most? People, places, or things that you love the most?
People. By far. I mean, with absolution. I mean, namely I mean, of course, my daughter, for sure. But I'm a social creature. It's my personality. Like, I can't stand most people, but I cannot function at all without people. That's why, like, my drive is my significant other. I I take it very, very personally when people show hatred toward me, because I am always constantly just trying to seek people's approval and affection, and I just like everybody to be happy and positive.
Why are you single?
Because I tested positive for HIV, and prior to that, I was fucking a woman who was 23 different types of crazy. I mean, she was a paranoid schizophrenic, and on top of that, I mean, while it may or may not have been my doing, she's now a meth addict. Delusional problem in my life. But she was that prior to me getting diagnosed, and it just became a whole hell of a lot worse after the diagnosis. But I don't want another relationship, because I don't know how I would go about telling any potential partner that I've got this illness. Nobody wants to be diagnosed with HIV.
Can HIV be cured? Is there a cure for HIV or no?
Alright, so I'm going to give you my unbiased recollection. To my knowledge, there is no cure for HIV. Namely because it is a virus, and viruses, specifically viruses, cannot be eliminated in the body. Just like the common cold is a virus, hepatitis is a virus. They can be fought, and the symptoms can be eliminated, but the virus itself exists in the body. So to my knowledge, no. Even with all the natural medicines that work in other scenarios, it's not my understanding that it works to cure HIV. I could be wrong though, because I personally have not done any medical research or any studies. I don't have any patients that I can test on. I don't know whether or not it can legitimately be cured. I know maybe one day, for sure.
Has your mother and your father been a part of your life since you've been homeless?
That's a good example of a broad question, because I've been homeless for a few years now, but I've also been periodically homeless throughout other parts of my life. But my homelessness, since I came back from Colorado and got to Delaware, started with me losing my shit and having a rage fit directed at my stepdad and my mom. Not so much my mom, but she took it that way. So we were on the outs when my homelessness started. We didn't have a good relationship for several months after that. But after we were on the outs, I tried to build a better relationship with my father and his wife. And
how did that work out?
Well, that worked out like you can imagine it would if I were a Satanist covered in tattoos and piercings and walked in to their house, with a fucking ball gag on. Like, that's basically the reception I got when I walked into my stepmother's house. It was just like instant disapproval, because there were rumors going around. I mean, half of them were true and half of them weren't, but it doesn't matter, because once people feel a certain type of way about you. Anyway, the point was that I it quickly went south, and even though they were never openly shitty towards me, that relationship fell apart. So then I didn't have a relationship with either of my parents for a long time following that. It was just homeless living in my car with my ex. And it went on like that for a long time until it just couldn't. Shit happened. My car broke down. Fucking life took its course. And then I did rebuild a bridge with my father. I don't think I'll ever be able to establish a family bond with his wife or her daughter. But that is a long story to be held at, or to be explained at another time. The relationship that I have with my mother now is much, much better. I fixed things. I mended things because I could see that she didn't punish me. She just made me learn things for myself. Made me grow the fuck up. Stop acting like everybody owed me something and start looking at the world as though I need to take accountability.
What are your weaknesses and what are your strengths?
I would say my weaknesses are primarily that I invest too much of my attention in shit that doesn't matter. I invest too much of my effort into helping other people accomplish things in their life, but never actually pursuing any kind of accomplishment of my own. I would say another weakness is that I live with reckless abandon. I don't see the future as a realistic concept in my own life. So I constantly live as though there is no consequence to anything. Like even getting HIV, I'm indifferent because it just was like one of those things they tell you in school, you can catch it if you do what you do. So I did what I did and I got what I got, and it's not surprising. I'm also a realist, so it just is what it is. I would say being a realist though is a strength, because some people live, with fucking shutter shades on. They don't want to see the world for what it really is. They see the people around them. I mean, you've got half of the people in society looking at other people around them as stepping stones. And then 2 more minutes. Part 2. Okay. But the last thing I want to say was that the other half of society look at the world as naively optimistic opportunities. And either way, neither side sees the world for what it really is, which is just a load of fucking shit.
One more question before we close and wrap this up. How do you feel about racism?
I feel like racism is, for the most part, a crock of shit. I feel like it's not human nature to just hate other people. Not even for things. I know we, as a species, we tend to steer away towards things that we are not like. So, as a species, we're genetically predisposed to steering away from people of other races because they're not like our own. Like, did you know that there's a psychiatric, proven concept that people that see other races cannot recognize differences in characteristics in people? Like, if I were to see a picture of 5 black men, I would have trouble distinguishing differences in their facial structure as opposed to a black man looking at that same set of 5 pictures. Whereas if I'm looking at a set of, you get the concept, right? But there was a study done that proved that. I don't know why the fuck somebody thought to have that study done. Anyway, I think racism is ridiculous. I think it's unnecessary. I think it's fueled by people who have ulterior motives for wanting violence and chaos and destruction, and for the general populace to just fucking hate each other.
Who's your favorite football team?
Really?
Really?
It's, Pittsburgh Steelers.
Pittsburgh Steelers.
Do you want to know why? Because I really could
Why?
give a shit less about football.
Why?
I mean, because when my grandmother and my grandfather were raising my dad and my two uncles and my late aunt, when they were, I think it was in some when they were really young, they were moved to Pittsburgh and they were raised in Pittsburgh for several years, and so then they picked up on that fame. They became fans, and then it's just been a family tradition ever since. I couldn't not be a Steelers fan, even if I wanted.
All right, can we wrap this up with an outro?
Yeah, we can. Pushy. Just kidding. Yeah, so I guess...
First of all, I want to say thank you for coming out. I thank you for sharing all your personal beliefs, your personal experiences.
I'm gonna call time out. Did you just say me for coming out when...
Oh, thank you for having me here.
I just thought it was funny.
Thank you for having me here. And thank you for sharing your personal beliefs and your personal experiences. We hope you come again. You did a real good job. Love you, brother. Thank you.
You too, man.
So is there anything you want to say to the audience to motivate them on their journey before you go? Any wise words?
Don't invest your entire existence into serving another person, anybody other than... I don't mean this to sound as fucked up as it will, but serve yourself first, because you're not good for anybody else if you're not good for yourself. That's the bit of wisdom. The last imparting bullshit that I wanted to leave you with is, you might get bored listening to me ramble on about nonsensical shit or past experiences, but I'll be honest with you, I don't know how else to be, and I want you to know me, and I feel like that is a shared belief throughout all of human existence, is that we all just want to be understood, and we need that affirmation and appreciation, and I'm laying myself out for you. I know it's a lot, I know I talk too much, I know Mr. Pushy behind the camera isn't being an asshole, but I know he wants to keep it on topic. And so,
all right, this is a to be continued episode. Look forward to see episode 2. Peace. Thanks for watching.